Okay, Henry Gadrone here again. Thank you so much for joining me live on the Trump Republican page. And we are here live right now at the 9/11 Memorial. And we are here as the fire department will be honoring the 343 fallen heroes on that day. So that's where we're at right now. Thank you, everybody that has joined me right now as a part two as I cover this 9/11 Memorial. And at this point, you can see behind me there's lots of fire department brass that are here, lots of the front line. So it's an incredible event here. We have also people from the military. So this is where we're at right now. Thank you so much, Henry Gadrone Live. Thank you for the Trump Republicans for allowing me to broadcast here. And I'm speaking a little bit low out of respect. And thank you so much for all you that are joining me throughout the United States and throughout the world, as I've seen folks from as far as United Kingdom, Australia. Thank you so much. And as we are here and we are celebrating here the lives and honoring them for those that lost their lives. So thank you so much, Henry Gadrone Live here at the 9/11 Memorial. And now we're here at a ceremony for the fire department who lost their lives, 343 of them, 23 NYPD, 37 Port Authority. So thank you for joining me, and as this ceremony has now commenced.
Check, check, check. You guys can hear me out there? All right.
Barca, Sangolo Nilulo people.
Detail! Attention!
Will everyone please rise as the Quantico Marine Corps Band performs the national anthem?
Take tail and salute!
Please bow your heads and join me in a moment of silence in honor of the fallen members from the armed forces, fire service, law enforcement who have made the supreme sacrifice. Also, all the members who have become ill from the after effects from the rescue recovery from WTC Box 558087. We will now lay a wreath in honor of the fallen members. May they never be forgotten. Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Joe LaPointe from the FDNY Ceremony Unit. I'd like to welcome everyone to 10 and 10, the annual September 11th Remembrance Ceremony, in honor of all our fallen members. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our honored guest, FDNY's Chief of Department, James Leonard. Manhattan Borough Commander, Roger Sakowitz. 32nd Fire Commissioner, Commissioner Salvatore Cassano. Retired firefighter Lee Ielpi. Retired firefighter and former UFA President James Boyle, and our own Gerard Chapora, Captain Gerard Chapora. Special welcome to the family members of our fallen members, all our military, off-duty, on-duty members, law enforcement, FDNY, and especially the officers and members from 10 Hours for their hospitality. It's my pleasure to introduce the first speaker, Chief of Department James Leonard.
Hey, Hurry, present.
Good afternoon and welcome to this hallowed, sacred place. To our members of our military here, I see from all branches, thank you. I just introduce, tell you something about the heroes that stand to my left. First is former Fire Commissioner and longtime Chief of Department of the FDNY, Salvatore Cassano, a combat veteran of Vietnam, 1966-1967. Highly decorated New York City firefighter. Next to him stands Lee Ielpi, another combat infantryman during the Vietnam era, U.S. Army. Highly decorated, one of the most highly decorated New York City firefighters in the history of this job. Lee lost his son on 9/11 as a member, Jonathan, as a member of Squad 288. Both these members hold the Combat Infantryman Badge. The third member is Jim Boyle, another veteran of the United States Army, longtime president of the Uniformed Fire Officers Association. Jim also lost his son on 9/11. And finally, at the end, Captain Gerard Chapora, President Captain in the department, his brother, lost his life on the attack on 9/11. He's a Marine who also survived Beirut as a Marine in 1983 in Beirut. These are 4 American heroes, and I think they deserve a round of applause for their service. We stand on hallowed ground right here before our symbol of victory. When you look at this, we won. They may have knocked us down, but we stood up. And to our members of our military, we fight. They fight. We fight. There's a monument on 101st Street and Riverside Drive. Firefighters are soldiers in a war that never ends. But on 9/11 and 16 years since, the members of our military got us the payback and the protection freedoms that we want. Freedom was attacked that day. We are Americans. We stand for freedom, and that is why we will never forget. So our honored members of all branches of the military, thank you for bringing the fight to our enemies of this who wish to take away our former life. Please give these members of the military and the Marine Corps band. To the Quantico Marine Band who is here, what a great representative of the Marine Corps of the U.S. military. We are honored by their presence, that they can come to honor us. There is no group of people in the world that admires and wants to honor the U.S. military than the FDNY. Our close personal bond, when we see that, passing that flag off from a firefighter to a soldier, a sailor, an airman, a Marine, that's what it's all about. We are all Americans. I'm so glad that we can honor you today. You are here to honor us. To the Marine Band, thank you. We are Americans, one and all. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next, we will hear from Lee Ielpi, whose son Jonathan is one of the FDNY's 343.
Good morning. You know, it's always a pleasure to be here. I really enjoy it. I enjoy talking about my son. I enjoy talking about the names that are behind me on the wall, because they're our brothers. But, you know, and I often talk about crying, where we macho guys don't cry, except if you're going home in your car or you're in a corner someplace and you think about your friends. So I cried today. This is my fourth time that I cried today. I cry, of course, for my son, but I also cry for the men and women that came here to help that day in uniform. And they did. And they did yeoman's work, didn't they? And now, 16 years later, what are we doing? We're honoring them, as we do every year, and rightfully so. But we also are honoring our great men and women in uniform. Whether or in front of me. And when I speak, I like to speak about some of the young people that I'm looking at out here. And some of you may have been in uniform at one time, but there is no way for you to really understand what these men and women have sacrificed since 9/11. Their family, their friends, their comrades in arms that aren't coming home, or in many cases coming home without their limbs or psychological problems. So remember the day. Don't forget the day. Make sure tomorrow you remember the day, which is today. Make sure you carry that message on and on and on. Because if it wasn't for the people from the FDNY, from the PD, from Port Authority PD, that gave themselves of that day, gave their lives, and our military that have defended us, as the chief said, to this day, and for the last 237 or 8 years that this beautiful country is in existence. Please remember them. Please remember the day. And God's willing, I'll see you all next year, safe and sound. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Next up, we'll hear for Jimmy Boyle, who also lost his son, Michael, who was one of the FDNY's 343.
I didn't know I was going to say anything, but I have some important words to say. I like to say it. I lost my son that day. I just want to reiterate what the firefighters of the city of New York done that day. Just on the top of my head, let me just take you through that morning for a second. Nice day like today, responding from the firehouse, going to 2 buildings, 110 stories tall, each floor an acre. 2 planes into the building, complete chaos. And a little sidelight, this hundreds died, but nobody underneath the planes died that day. We got them out. We went into battle. We fought like hell. We got everybody out. I look at the firefighters from 10 and 10 over there. Could be happening tomorrow. They'll do the same thing. Go in that building, get those people out. The true heroes of America with the military are the firefighters of the city of New York and the firefighters around the nation. I'm a union guy, but I just want you to know how much we did that day. We saved a lot of lives, and we're proud of it. And we'll never forget that. So when you see a city firefighter in uniform, respect them, because they deserve it. And I thank you for the opportunity to say a couple of words. God bless you all.
Our final speaker today is Captain Gerard Chapora, whose brother John was also one of the 343 that perished that day.
Thank you all. I'm honored to be here, and especially standing next to these gentlemen and then Chief of Department to allow me to have a moment to speak about my brother and the world we live in today. So all of the uniform members here today, thank you for your service for this great nation. As soldiers, you serve this country. As police officers and firefighters, we serve the city and our citizens here. And the citizens help each other in their communities. As we come together as a nation to assist our fellow Americans devastated by Hurricane Harvey in Texas and Hurricane Irma currently crippling Florida, let us cherish the quality that binds us together as Americans. Service. And service is defined as the action of helping or working for others. This is reminiscent of the events 16 years ago on September 11th. One light that came out of 9/11 was the power of service we all gave to each other. On Tuesday, September 11, 2001, ordinary citizens came together and assisted each other. Americans, both uniform and civilian, came together and rushed to New York City, the Pentagon, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to be of service, to help in any way they could. And for me, I know they helped me. I know they were standing right next to me when I was here. It is that sense of service that drives so many of us to do good and to make a difference in people's lives. This type of service is acted on more heroically in some more than others. But today, you are all a shining example of that life of service. The one person that I admire more for his life of service was my brother John, who was lost to us on September 11th. His life of service began as a young boy as a Boy Scout in his hometown in Staten Island. Then he joined the Marine Corps and narrowly escaped with his life when the Marine Corps barracks was bombed on October 23rd, 1983. That was the first terrorist attack that he was involved in. He survived, but 241 of his fellow Marines and sailors died that day. And upon his return, he became a New York City police officer, rose to the rank of detective. And finally, a New York City firefighter. And on September 11th, he was with Engine 219 and Ladder 105 on Dean Street. His whole life was in service of others, even to his death. That's what drives me forward in the FDNY, how I could emulate him. In fact, because of his life of service, colleagues and friends are working on naming a service vessel in his honor. Hopefully one of the Staten Island ferries one day will be his legacy. That his life of service will continue on, taking people back and forth to and from their work and home. What a great tribute that would be. So today, as we commemorate the 16th anniversary of an unspeakable horror to our nation, let us focus on the service we are committed to honor those who perished and to stay faithful to our mission of service. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you. It's an honor to introduce the Quantico Marine Corps Band, who will perform for us. The Quantico Marine Corps Band is one of the oldest professional musical ensembles in the Marine Corps. The band has an authorized strength of 1 officer and 50 enlisted Marines. It's under the direction of Chief Warrant Officer Robert Sorbo and conducted by Gunnery Sergeant Christoph Hunter. So without further delay, the Quantico Marine Band.
Uniform members, stand at ease.
Hey! Out, head! Out! Steady!
This concludes the ceremony. On behalf of the Commissioner, Chief of Department, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. Very special ceremony. Rest assured, our fallen members will never be forgotten. May God bless the FDNY, and may God bless America.
You left it. You make it happen. Sorry, I was so excited. Don't march.